Prince Harry is heartbroken all over again. Now, of course, this is something that he is never going to admit publicly, especially as his marriage to Meghan Markle crumbles. But former close friends of the Duke have told me that Chelsy Davy's decision to have a third child has really emotionally hit home. Now, she shared these beautiful images, and my God, I'm so happy for Chelsy Davy. Like, this is all she wanted. And I think it's delightful that she's comfortable to share the images on Instagram and now does finally feel like she can have a bit of a public profile. But why this has really hit home to Harry is that he had always discussed with Chelsy Davy having a large family. And of course, as soon as he ended up with Meghan Markle, who, yes, was older, and that is understandable that when you are older, the biological clock is ticking, that they decided, and it was apparently a mutual decision, but one that always surprised Harry's close friends, to have just 2 children, which went in total contrast to the big family that Harry had always discussed having, and that Chelsy Davy, who is now very happily married, and there is no suggestion, by the way, that she pines in any way for her life with Harry. I mean, she's totally happy now. But for him, given this marriage, as Tom Bower has been revealing, and betrayal, as I have been revealing for many months, is in such deep trouble. Of course, when you look at the one who got away, and she's living the life that you hope to live one day, in Mystique no less, with a lovely man who treats her very well, of course, that is going to hurt. Now, Angela Levin is Prince Harry's biographer and our royal mastermind. She spent a long time with Harry writing the authoritative biography just in his final days of meeting Meghan. Angela, look, this is an interesting one, isn't it? Because something definitely changed for Harry. He went from wanting this big family to all of a sudden saying, oh, no, it would be so irresponsible to have any more than 2 children because of climate change. You know, it was such a weird thing, wasn't it? Like, when you're thinking about your family, why on earth are you going into the climate change debate? And of course, here's Chelsy Davy living the life that her and Harry had long discussed, which was a big family outside of the United Kingdom.
Well, there's 2 things here. One is that if you've got 2 children of your own, you are usually very, very pleased. And if someone's got 3 and you've got 2, it's not a place to be really hard done by, because actually having 2 children is wonderful if you have them. But the second one is what I know from when I was doing his biography is that she went to university, right? And he was cross because it was quite a long way. So he started having affairs with all sorts of other girls. And she got very upset. And he didn't go and see her for a long time. So she went off and left him. Now, that's his fault, 100% his fault. You can't expect that a delightful woman like that, or any woman who's got any sort of sense of herself, that would be fine. That doesn't matter. Let her boyfriend go and have a lot of fun and then come and see me when you feel like it. She kept inviting him, but he was saying they weren't the right sort of guys for him. Well, that might be right. That's university. You don't always have the right friends, but it's his fault. I think he might look back on his life about his fault for a long time. But this is a nonsense, isn't it? He's pretending it's poor me again. It's not a poor me. It was a poor her if it was poor anything.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I'm absolutely with you on that, Angela. But I guess it shows you that things aren't good, are they? Because if you're in a happy relationship, you never look back at your exes at all. And look, he's not looking back, in fairness, at Cressida bonus.
You can do a bit. You can do a bit, but not a lot. I think you can look back and think, if I was older, I would have behaved better, or, things like that. So we'll give him that little bit. But, you're right otherwise.
Yeah, it's interesting. Do you think Chelsy Davy was the love of his life?
Yeah, he loved her a lot. And she really loved him. And they had great fun together. And he liked it because she wasn't worried about the royal family. That wasn't a big deal for her. She just fitted in very easily. And she was fun and a very nice girl, not demanding, not phenomenally rich, where she would want all sorts of diamonds and earrings and necklaces. She was just a very, very nice girl with a very nice family. And he loved the openness with all the animals in Africa, and all that was very pleasing for him. And she was fun. She was good fun.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, my sense, I covered their relationship very closely, actually, in my former life in newspapers, and it was very off and on. Like one week they'd split up, the next week they'd be together, but there was always a real passion there, and it felt like a very equal relationship emotionally as well. But I do agree with you, it was Harry who mucked it up, and I think we just all look at Chelsy today and think, she made the right decision. Because you look at Harry, totally miserable, totally allowing his negative past to take over him, all of these court battles, and just a great sense of sadness, actually, and anger connected to him. And you compare that to those pictures of Chelsy Davy, and she is living the dream. She is truly living the dream. And I think she does deserve that. Now, Angela, I knew it was going to happen, but of course, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's new PR team are fighting back with propaganda. This is as a result of the publication of, well, the forthcoming publication of Tom Bower's book Betrayal, which of course has been serialized in the Times newspaper over the past week. I need you to do something for me right now. It is free, it is easy, it is simple. Just hit that subscribe button on YouTube. That's because over 50% of you watching this video haven't done that yet. I'm incredibly disappointed with Richard Palmer. He was a member of the Royal Rota for a long time and was the Daily Express's royal editor. He was made redundant from there, and that was a real shame. But the fact that he's now writing for the newspaper and totally swallowing the Sussex Kool-Aid without any question is a disappointment to me, Angela. I'm not going to lie. So this is what he posted on X, and I just thought, are you kidding me? Like, do you really believe this? Harry and Meghan are working on 5 projects with Netflix and others with rival streamers and TV channels. There's no doubt they've suffered some setbacks, understatement of the year, but 6 years after their freedom fight, they do seem to be making it work for themselves. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Richard, have you followed anything? They've just been dumped now by Netflix in terms of the deal with As Ever. So this to me was pure propaganda, clearly being linked by the Sussex squad directly to him. And I just want to take you through, Angela, some of the key parts of the piece so that you can respond. And so he wrote, Harry and Meghan were banned from being part-time royals. They're doing it anyway. And the source said they have plenty of money. Now, that is, of course, a direct hit back at Tom Bower, who says in Betrayal that the money is running out. And this source described how they have overcome the end of their 5-year deal with Netflix, reported to be worth $100 million. It has been replaced by a deal giving Netflix first refusal on their television projects, echoing the streaming giant's general approach to TV production companies these days. That's just the way Netflix has gone. It isn't really doing those kind of deals any longer, the same source said. The couple are currently working on 5 different projects with Netflix, as well as a list of other programs with rival streamers and television channels. Some of them are first draft, some of them are with lawyers, some of them are contract secured, the source said. Earlier this week, it emerged they sold Cookie Queens, a documentary about the Girl Scouts that premiered at the Sundance Film Festival, to Roadside Attractions, a film distribution company whose credits have included movies such as Manchester by the Sea and Super Size Me. Charity work is Harry's primary focus, he writes, and his remaining charity patronages the Invictus Games Foundation, African Parks, Well Child, Scotty's Little Soldiers for Bereaved military children and his effort to make tourism more environmentally sustainable via his organisation Travelist. This was the line that I just couldn't believe. Last week, Harry spent 3 hours with an aide, going through all the patronages and what he needed to do to support them. Whoop-de-doo! I mean, literally, they're trumpeting the fact that Harry has worked for 3 hours. What else is he doing? His and Meghan's charitable arm, now known as Archewell Philanthropies, is undergoing a reset after a reorganisation in December that resulted in staff redundancies and a more streamlined organisation, but also a promise to expand their global philanthropic endeavours. Now, this was such a disappointing piece of propaganda to me, Angela Levin, because it might as well have just been a press release, right? It's like, oh yeah, Sunshine Sacks, what do you want me to write? Because Richard Palmer and the I newspaper did absolutely no critical thinking. Everything that was said in that piece was pretty much a total distortion, apart from the fact that Harry worked a whopping 3 hours on his charities. I mean, if you divide that, Angela, by the number of patronages he still has, and I know it's a shrinking number, he spent half an hour on each of them. Big bloody deal. That's not going to save them.
Do you remember that they said some time ago that they would only spend 1 hour a week on doing their work for charity? So, to do it for 3 or 4 hours, it's a really very difficult and demanding thing. But, it's if you like something, if you want to help people, then you'd be pleased to do that, you see. He doesn't know what he wants to do, and it makes him unhappy, whatever he's doing. Nothing can actually get through to him to be happy now. He just feels it. It's everything's wrong. And whatever the king does for him and doesn't do, I mean, it's just pointless, because he's got William, and what William ever does and doesn't do, and then he complies with Catherine. It's, he just can't find something good, and that means he needs help, but he doesn't seem to have it, or the people who help him don't actually work properly, or he's choosing the wrong ones. I think that's it. When he gets to a stage where he needs help, because we're all in difficulties at times, and we have to try and get over it. And well, he does just have a problem about loving his mother still, which is very, very nice, but it's not the right way of moving forward and helping yourself.
Well, Angela, given you've raised Diana, Princess Diana, I did want to ask you about this quite surprising revelation from Richard Kay. I think it really has been taken out of context, if I'm totally honest, and been pushed by Harry's allies, right? So look at this from People magazine, which is always pro Harry and Meghan. This is how they headlined it. Princess Diana was preparing Prince Harry to be king, believing shy Prince William didn't want the top job, a friend says. Richard Kay, a journalist and friend of Diana's, said the late Princess of Wales would call her younger son Good King Harry. Now, Diana herself constantly spoke about the fact that she was preparing Harry to be a loyal supporter of William, because she thought William needed support as king, not that she wanted Harry to be king.
Yeah, it's sort of taken out something from a big spot, sort of stew, and it just has a whole different meaning. I know, because I was told that she was very, very worried about Harry as a boy, because he was very naughty and he was very angry with the world even then, and she felt that she had to really help him and make him feel better. And it was nothing to do with becoming king or not. She took him to psychologists, 2, 3, to discuss, what's wrong with him and how she could help. So you don't do that to think you're going to make them a king, do you? It was just a way of being sweet and nice and say, one day you can be king. It doesn't mean anything. It's a long, long time ago. It doesn't mean anything. And William, who was shy, didn't want to be king, that is true. And he felt in his teenage years it was very unfair to make him be feeling all the time about how he's going to prepare himself to be king. So what he did, he left London. The other royals had unity, had gone to things in London, not gone out. And he wanted to go as far as he could so he could go to university and not have anybody going anywhere near him. He refused to have a whole place there for himself. He wanted to live with everybody else. He wanted to eat fish and chips in newspaper on the floor, and he didn't want to have anyone clearing up after him or doing anything. He wanted to be a normal person because he didn't want to do that. And then along comes Catherine. Wonderful. And along comes her parents, and they were kind and they were nice, and he could see that he could have an all normal family, and he felt very relaxed, and he felt very relaxed with her. They did split up, but he just got very nervous. But once he'd got from her the things that he could do, and instead of cutting ribbons and nuts, all those sorts of things, he could find what he really liked. And this has got to do with what he's done now. These are the things that he wants to do, weather and people. He doesn't want to do silly little things. The late Queen, his mother, grandmother, used to like to do that, but for him it didn't work out. So he wanted special things, really important, that would make a change. And then he's worked very well through, you see, whereas Harry just grumbles. And Harry just felt everything was not fair for him. I know when he came back from the army, he was offered lots and lots of very good things, and he refused them all because he was sulking, because they brought him home because it was dangerous, and there was mentioned in Australia that Prince Harry was there, and so they actually had to get him out of the place because it would be too dangerous. So there we are. It's a different story. I don't believe for a second that she would want that. She looked after him. Diana looked after him like a child. He was a child, but she had to really nurse him and hold him. And he was a damaged child from the start, partly because he had a very bad family.
Angela, something else really interesting from the past, but this has come up because of a new Channel 5 show where an expert lip reader has revealed a heated exchange between Prince William and Harry on this walkabout that they did under the most tense of circumstances, remember, following the death of the late Queen Elizabeth II. The background to this, of course, is that William and Catherine discovered that Harry and Meghan were planning to do their own sort of walkabout and were like, no, hang on a moment, this has to be done in a coordinated manner. Catherine tries to play the peacemaker here. It's really interesting because, I mean, this was so tense, but I did find that fascinating. Did you?
Yeah, but what I think is what happened is that Meghan wanted to do it separately from them, so she tried to get photographers and people to come along and do it separately, and William didn't want that, so he stopped it. So they were both absolutely furious. So Meghan said she had to change clothes. So she made them sit and wait for 45 minutes while she changed her clothes. So she could get her own back on that area. And then off they went. So they were furious with each other. But, that's how it was. They were furious. Catherine was furious that she was asked to wait all that time.
Yeah, indeed. Now, Angela, very interesting revelation from Tom Bower's book, Betrayal. And I spoke about it on the show earlier this week, but I didn't actually have the speech. And I wanted to go back and look at the speech because this was Meghan Markle at the One Young World Conference. Do you remember this? It was in Manchester in September 2022. And she was giving the speech discussing global challenges, and the co-founder of the organization, is called Kate Robertson. Her daughter, Ella, had been nervous about inviting Meghan. And what was so interesting is that Ella was looking at Meghan Markle's speech and immediately just said, she's effed it, using the very naughty swear word, Angela. And it was because Meghan had this great opportunity, this great moment where she could have spoken about the challenges of the world, but instead she just spoke about me, I. And she did it multiple times, Angela.
It makes me laugh, actually. It's so pathetic. And this is why I don't think people will go in Australia, because if it's all about her, no. The podcasts all about her, no. After a bit, people didn't want to go. You can't just expect everybody to want to know everything about you because you're so wonderful. She's a global human being, and she just wants everyone just to know about her. She's not the least bit interested in people unless they've got a really good name. They'll come in, but she doesn't care about that. It's her, me, and I. It's very funny.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think where Tom Bowell was very right is that this speech really was the beginning of the failure of Megxit, because it was this great opportunity. And as the organisers said, she effed it. But that is because that is the woman Meghan is.
Prince Harry and Chelsy Davy shared a highly publicized relationship for several years before eventually parting ways. While the relationship ended amicably, it has remained a subject of fascination for royal watchers. On the other hand, Harry's marriage to Meghan Markle has been under intense media scrutiny since their engagement, and especially after stepping back from official royal duties. The latest reports suggest that Harry may be experiencing emotional tension related to Chelsy Davy, reigniting past heartbreak. At the same time, some commentators claim that his marriage to Meghan is showing signs of strain. Headlines use words like "crumbles" to describe their relationship, adding to the drama and speculation. It's important to remember that Harry and Chelsy had a meaningful connection that has continued to capture media attention. Speculation about a renewed emotional attachment often arises simply because Chelsy remains part of his public narrative, even years after their breakup. Claims that Harry and Meghan's marriage is in trouble are largely based on speculation. While the couple has faced intense public and media pressure, there is no verified evidence to suggest that their relationship is crumbling. Often, these narratives combine unrelated rumors and past relationships to create a dramatic story. Headlines about affairs, heartbreak, and marital strife are designed to draw attention and clicks. Royal coverage in particular tends to magnify minor tensions or personal challenges into full-blown crises, even when there is no concrete confirmation from the individuals involved. Living under constant public scrutiny is challenging for anyone, even for members of the royal family. Emotional speculation about past relationships or marriage dynamics often tells us more about media framing than the reality of their personal lives. To be clear, there is currently no credible evidence that Prince Harry is involved with Chelsy Davy again, or that his marriage to Meghan is experiencing significant problems. Most of the heartbreak and crumbling narratives are speculative and designed to generate clicks. So, while these stories are compelling for viewers and royal enthusiasts, they should be approached with caution. It's important to separate rumor from reality and recognize that much of the drama is amplified for entertainment. What do you think? Are these reports about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle overblown, or could there be more beneath the surface? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more balanced royal updates and celebrity commentary.